Shannon with Wake Up Realty. Wake up in your new home with a smile. This video is going to be a little different than usual. It's going to be raw and unscripted. Right now, my past trauma and my present career have completely collided with an important issue that really needs to be heard. So, grab a tissue and let's chat. So, as I say this, I do get a little bit nervous putting my life out there sometimes. The other day, Kevin and I, were watching the video about those kids, those 13 poor souls whose parents had chained them up and starved them, and it just breaks my heart, completely breaks my heart. As we were watching, Kevin asked, he's like, why they were out in public, why did they not say anything? Why did they not reach out for help? Why? And at this point, I already had tears in my eyes because I understood. I knew what it was like to have those threats that, you know, if you reach out for help and you fail, those consequences are scary for a little kid. The adults in your life who are supposed to be protecting you are putting ideas into your head. They are trying to show you that for some reason, because of their own trauma and drama, that you're not worth it. You're there for them, to serve them, to do whatever they want. I know what it feels like to sneak food because you're hungry, because you've been punished and you're a kid and you want to eat. I know what it feels like to have that psychological torture of, if you say anything, no one's going to believe you anyways. I grew up with a lot of trauma and drama. A mother who had her own set of issues that she never dealt with, and those issues were then brought into her parenting, and I unfortunately received the brunt of that. I also received the brunt of sexual abuse from somebody in my family, and it was somehow my fault. I never told because I thought it would be my fault, and when the truth came out, I was asked, why didn't you tell sooner? And it's like, well, because I'm going to get in trouble, which I have. And as we were watching this documentary of these amazingly brave girls, women who are speaking out, I kept trying to hold back the tears just because I understood. Maybe not to the depth and gravity that they had to go through. But in my own childhood, I understood. And when they started talking about this person who was supposed to look out for them, who was supposed to help them find a job, to become members of a society that they had no idea even existed. And this person completely failed them. I know what that's like too. When you depend on the adults in your life to care for you, when the truth comes out and it's not good, you depend on those adults in your life to help you through it. I didn't get that either. we just had to be quiet and move along, and I got a book and that was it. I didn't even, after the sexual abuse came out, I got one court-ordered therapy session, and that was, and a book. And an adult book at that, as a kid. And so I understand. And it took me a long time as an adult to be okay and know that those people had their own sets of issues. But I was a kid. I didn't know any better. I depended on those adults to help me, to guide me. And that set off a lot of other issues because of that. These children and adults, some of them were adults, depended on this one person who was a real estate agent, who was in charge of money for them, who was in charge of helping them. He wanted to know how to cross the street, and you tell him to Google. That is just disgusting. There is now a petition for this woman. I will link it in the description, for her to lose her real estate license. I don't take this lightly. I'm not a vindictive person. Those who know me well in my personal life know how much of a giver I am, how much of a fur giver I am, and letting people go. But this woman who couldn't even take the time to help these traumatized children. I'm sorry, but no, I'm not sorry. If she can't take the time to care for these poor souls who are wanting a better life for themselves, and in a situation of nothing that they did, how is that translated into her business? Does she really even care? Does she really give a shit about her clients if that is how she is going to treat children? I believe that what we do, who we are, is in everything. Sure, we might be able to mask it for a moment, but when we're really called on the carpet, really called to do something, in that moment is where we really shine or fail. It really defines who we are and our character. And in the moment where she could have shined, she failed. Miserably failed. If it was a fact of her being too busy, then she should have said, hey, I can't do this. I need to step down. But she didn't. And these kids who depended on her help didn't get it. It just, I can't even describe to you the feeling. This woman should not be caring for other people's largest asset of a home, of their money, of their trust. And there is this petition. Please sign it. She just, as a realtor, you agree to a certain code of ethics. And that is not just with your clients, but that's with the community in general, as a whole. Kind of like how a doctor takes their oath. It's kind of that same idea. And she violated that. I don't even have words. It makes me so angry. Anyways. I don't know if you've stuck around this long. I just feel like I had to say something and not be silent. And it gets hard sometimes when current events collide with my own drama and trauma. And it's hard to stay silent, even as a healed adult. I've done immense healing, but yet there's always moments that it never leaves you. It's always there. And these children were victimized by their parents. They will always have that, no matter how much therapy they go through. That will always be a piece of them. And then, as adults, they were re-victimized by this real estate agent who was supposed to care for them. It just is unconscionable. So, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. And I would really, really appreciate it if you would sign the petition below. I hope this hasn't been too heavy, but I really felt like it was an important issue to bring to the table and to give it a little bit of light in my own personal world. So, take care.